Welcome to the New Mexico Suncast. Jim Williams with you, and I'm with Marcus Lujan. Marcus Lujan is the field director for Think New Mexico. We're over here across the street from the Roundhouse in Santa Fe. Marcus, right out of that gate, buddy, what is the field director?
So the field director, I'm the guy on the ground for Think New Mexico. We all are registered lobbyists, but I'm the guy who kind of recruits witnesses for testimony at the legislature for committee hearings and that kind of stuff. Coordinating, talking to people, seeing who has stories that can kind of attribute or can attest to why certain bills should go the way that they should, and so I kind of recruit those people, reach out to those people, get them organized. The session's a lot of fun to kind of organize a lot of people to do that because you're kind of at the will of the committee chair and whoever is.
So you're kind of the connector.
I'm the connector. I'm the glue guy.
But you're also talking to people from both sides of the aisle, people
Correct.
with different perspectives, and you're getting them to work together.
Right.
That's a special gift.
I learned from the best. Think New Mexico. Fred's big thing. Our big thing is we're nonpartisan, and doing that, we're bipartisan. So we try to get as many people from both sides of the aisle onto any one of our bills as possible. So yeah, you do have to work with a lot of different viewpoints and just try to balance it out. Where we luck out with our bills is that so much of our stuff is so common sense that it's really easy to get people from both sides of the aisle. And it's not, we're not necessarily doing hot button issues all the time. And we're able to bridge these gaps fairly easily.
We were visiting before we started the interview. You graduated from St. Michael's High School, made a big move to Las Cruces.
Yes, I did.
How was that different?
You grow up in Santa Fe and everyone kind of knows each other, and it's still a very tight community for the most part. And you have fiestas and that kind of stuff where you kind of come together as the community, and that was a change up. You don't have that necessarily in Las Cruces, or if they do, but you don't necessarily know the people there. So that was a bit of a change up. Where I lucked out was that 17 people out of my 75-person graduating class went to state with us, so we had a good base to build off of. So we were able to make a lot of friends, and college was a great time, don't get me wrong, but we really loved it. We had a great time.
Yeah, you were part of the Student Fee Review Board, political position.
Yeah.
How'd that shape your view on not only student governance, but government in general?
Well, they dragged me into it. I was the only government student dumb enough to say yes to it 2 weeks beforehand. And it was like a 2-week long process where all these different student groups and kind of groups where the money that the students pay and their fees goes to and how it gets allocated and all that. So it was tough. You have to see where the need is, where the want is to spend the money, and that gets a little challenging because the budget gets tight. And then our job at the end of it was to either raise or let the current rate stay, and we did end up raising it just a little bit, a couple dollars for every student, but it went a long way. So you kind of do just see how important many services that are involved with not only student government but government are for a lot of people, and how far just a few dollars for a few people can go.
Are your goals in your position kind of annual goals? As soon as you find out what you're working on and what you're trying to put together, your goal is to get 10 people here, 10 people here. Like Fred told us that you were able to get 12 people to support the medical malpractice legislation you were proposing from both sides of the aisle.
Both sides of the aisle. That was kind of, I would say yes, it kind of was an annual goal that we had a set number of bills that we really did want to push for and get through. It wasn't even our full, kind of agenda on how to solve the medical worker shortage, but it was the ones that we wanted to focus on this year. So yeah, we did really want to accomplish those. Came short on a few of them, but we did get a couple things through, which was really exciting.
Yeah. Do you have something in your time here that's been your best memory, your most feeling of accomplishment?
We got one bill through, Senate Bill 295, which established, Senate Bill 88, which got a permanent fund for Medicaid reimbursements for doctors, because doctors are covering these costs out of pocket, which is making them turn away a lot of Medicaid patients, Medicare patients that, who is that really serving? So we were able to at least bump up how much these doctors get reimbursed. That way they're not paying out of pocket. That way they're not turning away patients. That way we have a healthier state. So I was really grateful. I was really humbled just to, this is my first session. I'm a 23-year-old know-nothing kid from out of college. They taught me everything, but I mean, to help get such a impactful bill through was really exciting.
But you're a young person. You just mentioned that, and you're dealing with people that are very experienced, some rookies,
Right.
But you're a young person that's taking a leadership position. I mean, call out young people. We need more young people doing what you're doing.
We do, and it's easy. You know, the fun thing is you think that the legislators think you're an aide for the first couple of weeks of the session because you're so young that they'll really be helpful with you, and they think you can just you just help them out throughout the day, and then they're like, who do you work for? I'm like, I'm actually a lobbyist. So then they're like, oh, who do you lobby for? So then it's a good conversation starter, you know.
Yeah.
But they, not only should you be, because it's important to your life, and you know your government is important to your life, but it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're doing something for the broader community, and it's a great feeling, and government's a great way to help do that.
In a general way, you've talked about you have a complete plan at Think New Mexico about how to bring doctors back to the state, not just to recruit them,
Sure.
but to also make it not only economically viable but attractive
Right.
to be a doctor here.
Right.
Plus, you bring in all the other elements, beauty, art communities,
Sure.
Outdoors, music.
Right.
I mean, education is a big thing that you guys work on. So is it difficult for you to find people that are representatives and that are willing to sit down and participate and actually have a conversation even though they might disagree and work something out? Is that hard to find those people?
No, and that was kind of surprising. There are a few that were really turned off to a lot of the stuff that we were doing. We couldn't get conversations with them, handful of them. And, outside of that though, totally pleasant people, great people.
Now, you know that the newspapers and the television stations are reporting that there's no cooperation. That's not what I'm hearing.
Not at all. I think a lot of politics, you got to ham it up. You got to shore up your base and say, oh, we're fighting these guys on some stuff. But you take a look at the gallery any day of the week, and you're going to see people from across the aisle laughing, joking, hugging. And it was cool to kind of be, not only we were necessarily bridging those gaps. Those are gaps that really don't exist unless you're in front of the camera. From what I saw, there are a lot of people that like each other across the aisle, despite voting for two completely different people this last
But
November.
You're not allowed to tell the television station that you like this guy on the other side of the aisle?
You can't tell them that, that's not good for your base. They don't like that stuff. They want to be angry. They want to have a common enemy. But they've been able to find a lot of progress through a lot of cooperation. Not necessarily this session that much stuff got done, but I think in the past and looking ahead in the future, there's still an avenue for communication and cooperation and bipartisanship.
So there was a lot that you put together, particularly with this plan on healthcare. I know you got a plan on education and these kind of things. What are you working on right now for next legislative session, maybe even a possible special session?
Sure. One of the big things that we didn't get through this session were the 9 interstate medical worker compacts that allow doctors to provide care in a state that they hadn't previously had licensing for. It provides for a portal where they can get licensed easier. Obviously, getting licensed is an expensive and timely process, and in a state that needs doctors as badly as we do, I feel like we should open these doors rather than keep them closed and make doctors have to jump through several hoops. And it's not just doctors, it's audiologists.
So you're not
dentists.
talking about a doctor that went and got a license to practice medicine at the local dime store.
No.
These are professionals
that have gone through a licensing board in their home state that are willing to help here, even if it's through telehealth, that can provide care that we just cannot meet right now with the numbers in our state.
I'm really dating myself saying dime store. I should say dollar store. And there's nothing for $1 at the dollar store.
$5 maybe.
Yeah, I love it. Marcus, you obviously think a lot about St. Michael's High School. Was that a good experience? I mean, you were competing against public schools, private, Christian Brothers Catholic school.
Right. St. Michael's is the best. I was there 7th through 12th. And before that, I was at the only parochial elementary school in Santa Fe, Santo Niño. But not to be touting Catholic education or anything, but it really did, you know, help form who I am as a person, help me become who I am, and the education was phenomenal. I didn't skip a beat going into college. Granted, I went to New Mexico State, but they really shored us up for, you know, the long term, and just how to live your life, how to focus on your education and be able to round yourself out as an individual. I love that school very much.
So I'm a parent of 5 kids. Don't know your parents. I hope you still have them.
Yes, sir.
I know they're really blessed to have you here.
I'm blessed to have them. I lucked out with them.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for having me.
We appreciate you, and we'll be in touch soon.
Great. Sounds great.
Thanks much.
Thank you very much.